From rock bottom to redemption, turning pain into purpose. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast, where we dive deep into the stories that inspire, challenge, and transform. Today, we're in for a treat that's going to shake you to your core and maybe, just maybe, change the way you look at life's struggles forever. We recently had the incredible privilege of sitting down with Christina L. a woman whose journey from the depths of addiction to the heights of advocacy is nothing short of miraculous. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another recovery story, right? Wrong. This isn't just a tale of personal triumph. It's a masterclass in turning life's harshest lemons into the sweetest, most impactful lemonade you've ever tasted. Christina isn't just a survivor. She's a warrior, a beacon of hope, and quite frankly, a disruptor in the best possible way. Her story doesn't just inspire, it ignites. It doesn't just move you, it mobilizes you. And by the end of this talk, I guarantee you'll be looking at your own challenges in a whole new light. Born on a chilly January day in 1980, Christina's early life read like a recipe for success. Bright, ambitious, she climbed the educational ladder, eventually landing a cushy gig as an administrator and dean of engagement for the Cleveland Public School District. Sounds like the American dream, right? Well, hold on to your seats, because this dream was about to take a nosedive into a nightmare that would make your worst hangover look like a walk in the park. You see, beneath the polished exterior of professional success, Christina was waging a war against an enemy so insidious, so cunning, that it had her in its grip before she even realized she was in a fight. That enemy? Alcohol. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Come on, everyone likes a drink now and then. But we're not talking about a glass of wine with dinner here, folks. We're talking about a full-blown, life-destroying addiction that was threatening to snuff out every ounce of potential this remarkable woman possessed. In her raw, no-holds-barred book, My Love Letter to Alcohol, Christina takes us on a journey that's about as comfortable as a bed of nails, but twice as enlightening. She doesn't sugarcoat it, doesn't dress it up in pretty bows. No, she lays it all out there. The ugly, the painful, the downright terrifying reality of what it means to be in the clutches of addiction. But here's where Christina's story takes a turn that'll give you whiplash. Instead of letting this demon define her, she did something so audacious, so revolutionary, that it's still sending shockwaves through the recovery community. She used her addiction as a launching pad for personal growth and societal change. That's nothing short of phenomenal. Now, let's be clear. This isn't your run-of-the-mill 12-step, one-day-at-a-time recovery story. No, Christina's approach is holistic, deeply rooted in faith, and as multifaceted as the woman herself. She doesn't just talk about putting down the bottle. She talks about filling the void with something so powerful, so sustaining, that it makes alcohol look like a cheap parlor trick in comparison. As a certified chemical dependency counselor, Christina brings a 1-2 punch to the fight against addiction. She's got the professional chops, sure, but it's her personal experience that gives her words a weight that no textbook could ever match. When she talks about the struggle, you don't just hear it, you feel it in your bones. But wait, there's more. Because apparently being a kick-ass counselor and author wasn't enough, Christina decided to add talented musician to her resume. That's right, she's a percussionist, using music as a tool for healing and self-expression. It's like she looked at recovery and said, do you know what this needs? A soundtrack. Now, let's break down the Christina Cloud method of turning your life from a dumpster fire into a beacon of hope, shall we? First up, acknowledgement. Not the polite, yes, I might have a tiny problem kind of acknowledgement. We're talking about the brutal, mirror-shattering honesty that forces you to confront every ugly detail of your addiction. It's not pretty, it's not comfortable, but by God, it's necessary. Next on the menu, faith. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is some kind of religious sermon, hold up. We're not talking about any specific dogma here. We're talking about tapping into something bigger than yourself, something that can hold you up when your own strength fails. For Christina, it was her Christian faith that provided a lifeline when she was drowning in a sea of alcohol. But the principle applies universally. Find your higher power, whatever that means to you. Third on the list, and this is a big one, community. Turns out, contrary to what your inner lone wolf might believe, recovery isn't a solo sport. It takes a village, people. Christina's gratitude to her support system isn't just heartwarming. It's a blueprint for success. You need people in your corner, cheering you on, picking you up when you fall, and sometimes delivering the tough love that your stubborn self needs to hear.
But here's where Christina's philosophy really kicks into high gear, turning pain into purpose. This isn't just about getting sober, it's about taking that hard earned sobriety and using it as a superpower to change the world. As the CEO owner of SOB4U LLC, Christina is on a mission to open a sober home. But this isn't just any rehab center. This is a place where peace, faith, and hope aren't just buzzwords, they're the building blocks of a new life. Imagine, if you will, a world where every person who crawls out of the pit of addiction becomes a lighthouse for others still lost at sea. The ripple effect would be staggering. We're talking about a revolution in how we approach recovery, how we support each other, how we view the very nature of addiction itself. Christina's journey forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths. How often do we write people off because of their struggles? How quick are we to judge, to dismiss, to turn away? Her story challenges us to look at the person fighting addiction not as a lost cause, but as a potential force for change, just waiting to be unleashed. But let's zoom out for a moment, because this isn't just about addiction. This is about the human capacity for transformation. It's about looking at your darkest moments, your biggest failures, your most shameful secrets, and saying, you don't define me. I define me. So what can we, the lucky listeners of this podcast, take away from Christina's extraordinary journey? How can we apply these lessons to our own lives, even if we've never struggled with addiction? First off, embrace vulnerability. In a world of Instagram filters and carefully curated online personas, there's a revolutionary power in being real. Christina's willingness to bare her soul, to share every gritty detail of her struggle, isn't just brave. It's a middle finger to a society that often values appearance over authenticity. Secondly, think holistically. Christina's approach to recovery encompasses mind, body, and spirit. It's a reminder that true wellness isn't about fixing one aspect of our lives. It's about nurturing every part of who we are. Whether you're battling addiction or just trying to live your best life, this principle is gold. Third, and this is a big one, find your purpose. Christina's transformation from addict to advocate is a masterclass in turning adversity into opportunity. It challenges us to look at our own lives and ask, how can we use our experiences, even the painful ones, to make a positive impact on the world? Fourth, Tony, never underestimate the power of community. In an age where independence is often glorified, Christina's story reminds us that there's strength in connection, in vulnerability, in asking for help. Your support system isn't a crutch, it's a launch pad. And finally, hold on to hope. If there's one thing Christina's journey screams from the rooftops, it's that change is possible. No matter how dark things seem, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how far you've fallen, you can rise, you can transform, you can become a force for good in this world. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that's great for Christina, but my problems are different. My struggles aren't as dramatic. My story isn't as inspiring. Stop right there. That kind of thinking is exactly what Christina's story challenges us to overcome. Your struggles, whatever they may be, have value. Your pain, your failures, your darkest moments, they're not just obstacles to overcome. They're tools, they're weapons. They're the very things that, when transformed, can become your greatest strengths. Maybe you're not battling addiction. Maybe your demon is depression or anxiety or a soul-crushing job or a relationship that's falling apart. Maybe it's the quiet desperation of a life that looks perfect on paper but feels empty inside. Whatever it is, I want you to look at it square in the face and say, you don't own me, I own you. Because here's the truth that Christina's story illuminates so brilliantly. Your pain, your struggle, your journey, it's not just about you. It's about every single person you could help if you find the courage to turn your pain into purpose. Imagine if Christina had simply gotten sober and called it a day. That would have been a victory, sure. But look at the lives she's changing now. Look at the hope she's spreading. Look at the revolution she's starting in how we approach addiction and recovery. So here's my challenge to you, dear listener. It's time to stop hiding from your struggles. It's time to stop seeing them as roadblocks and start seeing them as the raw material for your life's greatest work. I want you to take a hard look at your life. What's the thing you're most ashamed of? What's the struggle you've been hiding? What's the pain you've been running from? Now, I want you to ask yourself, how could this be my superpower? How could this be the very thing that allows me to connect with others, to make a difference, to leave my mark on the world? This isn't about positive thinking or sugarcoating reality. This is about alchemizing your pain into purpose. It's about being brave enough to share your story, to reach out your hand to others who are struggling, to stand up and say, I've been there and I can help. Because here's the truth: the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real people, people who have been through the fire and come out stronger, people who can look at someone who's struggling and say, I see you, I've been there, and I can show you the way out. So, as we wrap up this episode of the Black CEO podcast, I want you to remember Christina L. Cloud. Remember her journey from the depths of addiction to the heights of advocacy. Remember her courage in sharing her story, her innovation in approaching recovery, her dedication to turning her pain into a purpose that's changing lives. But more than that, I want you to look in the mirror and see the Christina Cloud in yourself. See the potential, see the strength, see the unique experiences and struggles that have shaped you into the perfect person to help others in ways no one else can. Your story matters. Your struggles matter. Your journey matters, not just for you, but for every single person whose life you could touch if you have the courage to turn your pain into purpose. So, what's it going to be? Are you ready to stop hiding and start healing? Are you ready to take your biggest struggles and turn them into your greatest strengths? Are you ready to join the revolution of real, authentic, purpose-driven living that Christina is championing? The choice is yours. But remember, every moment you spend hiding your truth is a moment you could be changing someone's life, including your own. Thank you for tuning in to the Black CEO podcast. Until next time, keep it real, keep it authentic, and never ever underestimate the power of your story to change the world. This is your host signing off and reminding you that your greatest struggles just might be your greatest gift to the world. Use them wisely.